Given the intensity of the pollution in the national capital, first of its kind, OPD, which is dedicated to pollution, has come up at Delhi's RML hospital. This is going to be called as weekly pollution OPD and is going to be operative only on Mondays between 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. where the doctors from different departments, be it from the respiratory, dermatologists and also from the ENT and psychiatric department, they are also going to give consultation to those patients who are suffering because of the pollution which is currently on a rise in the capital city. We are currently reporting from outside the RML hospital. This is the same hospital where for the very first time across the country the OPD is going to come up for the people who are suffering out of the menace that the pollution has become now. There are multiple reasons which are responsible for the same. But Dr Amit Shukla, who is the MS of RML hospital, while speaking to CNN News 18, he has said and also advised those people who falls into the vulnerable category or those people who are at the risk category, be it the elders or the younger kids, not to step out of their houses unless it is any of the emergency situation or unless it is advised by any of them. And apart from it, the people should also avoid exercising outdoors, and this is something which is going to be exercised for next many weeks, so to say, in the capital city. And if we talk about the further details, we have been given to understand that the short-term impacts of the pollution level are going to be dealt at the RML OPD, hospital OPD, which is going to come up for the pollution level. But there are many of these studies which are currently underway across the country to see as to how the long-term impacts are also going to be seen across the country because of the rising pollution level. We cannot emphasize more about the menace that the pollution is and the impact of the same, but amid all this, first of its kind, pollution OPD has been opened up in the RML hospital in the national capital, and currently we are in conversation with the medical superintendent of the same hospital, Dr Amit Shukla. Sir, thank you so much for giving us your time. First of its kind OPD, what exactly are we going to see in that particular domain side?
So basically, it will be a cluster of several OPDs altogether. It will be a multi-disciplinary approach to pollution, because pollution impacts not only the lower respiratory tract, but also the upper respiratory tract, the eyes, the skin, even the brain. Everything is affected. So we've got the pulmonary medicine department, which is the respiratory medicine department, that will be the key, and also the ENT department, the eye department, the dermatology department, and as well as the psychiatry department. They'll all sit together. So patients having any of these issues, they would be dealt with.
So the pollution has been prevalent across the country for last many years. But why, for the very first time, did you think that this is the need of the hour, particularly in the national capital?
Yeah, well, we've been observing, I'm sure you must have been observing also, that every year around this part of the year, around Diwali, pollution peaks and stays for a pretty long time, and it affects people in different ways. So we were thinking that it should create more awareness amongst people. And because people have multiple problems, so we should deal with all those problems as a whole. So that's why we started this.
But sir, as the name suggests that this is the weekly OPD pollution, that means on a single day, that means on Monday 2 to 4, this is going to be operative. But given the intensity of the pollution, do you think that you are also considering about making it even more frequent or even more often, because many of the cases related to the same are coming in last many days?
Yeah, so it will all depend upon the response, the number of people that come, because if the people come in greater numbers, we'll definitely have to increase the number of OPDs, and probably we might have to make it daily. So because it's a first of its kind OPD, and many people aren't really sure whether they need to go to a pollution concerning OPD or whether they need to go to somebody else. So it will take time for people to start trickling in. So we'll increase the OPDs definitely as needed.
So my last question to you would be, given the intensity of the pollution, what are the precautions which should be taken by the people in general? And also, do you think that the usage of the mask are going to make some of the impact? क्योंकि इतना pollution है, कहाँ फर्क पड़ेगा? Your words, sir.
Well, basically the advice is, that people who are more vulnerable, right? So people who have got chronic respiratory problems, chronic lung diseases, those people with cardiac problems, elderly people, very young children, right? People who are at high risk, so they need to stay indoors, right? So if at all possible, they should avoid going outside. Other people, whatever is necessary, they can go outside, but they should avoid doing strenuous exercises outdoors, like running or cycling or brisk walking. I mean, they should be avoided. As far as your question regarding the masks is, well, the only masks which are effective are the N95 and the N99 masks. Plain masks don't work at all. But these masks, to be effective, they have to be worn properly and snugly. The fit should be snug. And people have a habit to wear it for a little while and then remove it. Then the purpose is defeated. So, yeah.
So do you also suggest some change in diet as well to beat the pollution? Any of the diet which should be followed, which could help in some way or the other, be it drinking more water or anything, some of the slight changes?
Well, drinking sufficient water is definitely a healthy habit. One should do that. Regarding the other part of the diet, I've not come across any such studies which say a particular diet helps more during pollution. But yes, a lot of studies are going on because pollution not only impacts an individual in the short term but also in the long term, because it can trigger mutation in the cells of the body of a person, and it can even lead to cancer. So all of that is being studied, the long-term effects of pollution. Our clinics are basically focused on the short-term effects of pollution, and it will also help in counseling people. Yes.
So we appreciate for your time, and thank you so much for giving us first of its kind OPD related to the pollution. So we were in conversation with the MS of RML Hospital. So many of the specialists which are related to the pollution or which could help the patient in beating the pollution. Now the first of its kind OPD has been opened up, which is going to be operative only on Mondays between 2 to 4, and if need be, the frequency is clearly going to be increased in the days to come. With